Live. Local. Late breaking. This is 4029 News at 5.
Well, folks, get ready. We've got record-setting heat on the way for tomorrow. The warmest temperatures of the year so far coming on in. And then after that, we'll have to watch for some possibly strong to severe storms by the weekend. We'll tell you about all of it coming up.
A heated argument broke out today during a meeting of the Arkansas Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Training. Listen as a local sheriff expresses his concerns over 5 local deputies facing decertification. It's a story you'll see only on 4029.
It's election day. We have team coverage in the River Valley in Northwest Arkansas. We're breaking down a possible sales tax consent decree in Fort Smith and some school millages on the ballot. Good evening. I'm Allison Wise.
And I'm Brandon Evans. Welcome to 4029 News at 5 o'clock. Let's take a live look outside on a beautiful Tuesday. Picture perfect day. Sunny, warm, not a cloud, maybe one or two, but not much. Chief Meteorologist Darby Bybee tracking, though, the possibility of record high temps tomorrow, especially in the River Valley.
And Darby, how warm could it get for us tomorrow?
Well, we're looking at upper 80s and low 90s. The record tomorrow in Fayetteville is 89. It's 92 in Fort Smith. So we're going to be in that territory. And at least in Fort Smith, probably above that by the time it's all said and done. And then after that, as we go into the rest of the week, it stays warm. It's not quite as hot, maybe not record-setting heat, but still pretty warm. And then we worry about that risk of severe weather by the weekend, which we'll talk more about a little bit later on. But you can see on satellite radar right now, looks nice and clear over our area. The system that was affecting our area yesterday, way off to the east. That heat still building all the way up into Canada. 94 today in Fargo, record-setting heat for them. And on into Canada there, the first 90s of the year before it arrives here. But look at that, just off to our west in West Texas, 100-degree heat. So, yeah, even worse there. But in Northwest Arkansas, you can see temperatures dropping slowly tonight, mid-60s tomorrow morning. Mild start to our day, certainly warmer than it was this morning. And then highs tomorrow, upper 80s. Not far from 90. So one Northwest Arkansas may get to 90 tomorrow, too. In the River Valley, we'll wake up in the mid-60s, and I think we'll definitely get the 90s in the River Valley tomorrow. Low to mid-90s for us. Ton of sunshine. And then we start looking ahead toward those storm chances for the weekend. Brandon, we'll talk more about that coming up.
Well, if you haven't made it to the voting booth today, you still have time. Several local cities and counties have special elections and school millage rates on the ballot in both the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Polls close tonight at 7:30. So it is election day. Voters are hitting the polls, and let's talk about the River Valley first.
Jacob Murphy's in Fort Smith to tell us about a ballot issue we've been keeping an eye on.
Well, Brandon and Allison, voters here in Fort Smith, they'll be looking at a couple sales tax issues on their ballot today and tonight that would allow the city to reallocate funds towards the city's wastewater system.
We're voting because we're citizens of the United States of America, and it is our duty to vote today.
A small election, yes, but an important one.
It's important for Fort Smith that we come out to all the small elections and vote for things that matter.
Fort Smith voters deciding on a sales tax issue.
I'm out here today because it's important in regard to our tax dollars at work.
And 2 school board positions.
It's important for our actions to move forward and to move our education forward.
3 races that impact everyone in Fort Smith.
A lot of people don't come to them, so everyone's opinion isn't heard, and it needs to be.
Now let's go over exactly what's on the ballot for these Fort Smith voters today. Voters will be asked if they want to reauthorize the 2022 3/4 sales and use tax. An eighth will go towards the police department, and a majority would go to improving the city's wastewater system. Also, they'll decide to reauthorize the 1 cent sales and use tax. The money would be split differently if approved by voters. And lastly, voters will be asked if they want to issue $360 million in bonds to finance crucial sewer upgrades, and these would be repaid over the next 30 years. Now, polls will be open here in Fort Smith and throughout Sebastian County until 7:30 tonight. Live in Fort Smith, Jacob Murphy, 4029 News.
There are 5 voting locations in Fort Smith, which you can find on 4029tv.com. Polls are also open in Northwest Arkansas for the school election.
And Abner Sosa's live in Rogers with how voting's going there. Abner.
Allison, Brandon, it has been a slow and steady stream of voters throughout the day here. The Benton County Elections Coordinator says voter turnout tends to be lower on non-presidential election years. So on the ballot in Benton County includes millage increased votes for Gentry and Springdale. There are also a couple of school board races happening in Springdale, Gravette, and Rogers. And lastly, voters in Gravette and Pleasure Heights will be deciding on volunteer fire dues. Voters we talked to today say even though they're not picking a president this time, it's more important than ever to vote.
I only had one issue to vote on, and that was the millage. For me, it's just, funding our schools and making sure that, the educators have the right tools to do their job.
Polls here close at 7:30 tonight. For a more detailed look at the ballot, we have that information on our website at 4029tv.com. We're live here in Benton County. I'm Abner Sosa, 4029 News.
Abner, thank you. Now to a story you'll see only on 4029. Today in Little Rock, the Johnson County Sheriff shared his concerns with members of the Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Training. This over deputies whose credentials were asked to be revoked.
Brett Rains was the only reporter inside today's hearing that got pretty heated at times.
As of right now, the Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Training has ruled against the Johnson County Sheriff on 4 out of 5 deputies who the sheriff said should be decertified from law enforcement. Now today inside Arkansas State Police headquarters, the sheriff told the commission that he thinks some of the members are biased against him. But the chairman of the commission says they're doing the best they can with what information they have.
The message they send is that excessive force is okay. If this is the standard, then I don't need to be a law enforcement in Arkansas.
And you're serious?
I'm serious.
Tell me where else that's the standard. Thank you, sir.
I take offense to that.
Accusation
being thrust upon
Then
me.
you should speak to the citizens of your state. Thank you.
The prosecutor made that decision, sir.
I sent it back to the prosecutor based on what was in your agency's report that wasn't given to me.
That's Johnson County Sheriff Tom Hughes addressing members of the Arkansas Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Training.
My intentions are to make sure that bias is not shown towards sheriffs and police chiefs when they come in to give a statement.
Hughes was appointed sheriff in Johnson County in 2023 after the former sheriff pleaded guilty to a drug charge and resigned. During a contested hearing in January, Klest did not decertify former Deputy Jason Cole for his use of force during this arrest in 2024. Cole is one of 5 former deputies who the sheriff referred to the state, asking that their law enforcement credentials be revoked. Hughes says he did not have the results of the state police use of force investigation until after the January hearing, and he says he had to send a Freedom of Information request to get it.
I have investigations, but I have not been allowed to present them before Klest.
We make our decisions based on facts presented to us.
Doc Holliday is chairman of the commission that's made up of current and former sheriffs, police chiefs, as well as members of the public.
So we're not trying to be biased. We're not trying to be taking one side or the other. We just make a decision based on the information that's provided to us and the evidence that is provided.
Attorneys for Cole say that a state police investigation and the prosecutor also cleared the former deputy of using excessive force. Now he and 3 other former deputies are suing the sheriff's office for more than $1 million in damages, claiming their rights were violated and that their reputations were destroyed. The sheriff says he cannot comment about the pending lawsuit just yet. In Little Rock, Brett Rains, 4029 News.
A car drove into the Liberty Food and Gas Station on Highway 64 in Mulberry this morning. According to police, the driver of the car accidentally hit the gas pedal instead of the brake, causing it to drive into the store. Luckily, the store was closed and there were no reports of injuries.
We turn now to an update on a story that we brought to you first last night. The Alma City prosecutor is going to decide if charges are going to be filed against a now former school bus driver accused of hitting a 4th grader in the head. Now, the incident happened on May 6th. The student, Gamble and Chopsby, said that he was looking down when the driver hit him. Now, the Alma superintendent sent a statement saying the driver was placed on administrative leave while an investigation took place, but the bus driver has since resigned. This happened last week, no longer working for the district.
Turning to our nation's capital, we're tracking some positive news for your wallets this afternoon. Inflation's slowing down. Even some experts predicted the opposite would happen amidst President Trump's tariffs taking effect.
4029 White House correspondent Caitlin Norwood shares a closer look at the report and what it means for you at the grocery store.
Allison and Brandon, this is the third straight month that inflation cooled, but the first report since some of President Trump's tariffs went into effect. Here are the actual numbers. They show consumer prices increased 2.3% in April. That's the smallest rise in 4 years. And grocery prices dropped slightly by 0.4%. But that's actually the biggest decline in your groceries since September of 2020. So what does that translate onto your receipt? Our Hearst data team has been tracking the average prices for some of the most popular items like eggs, beef, milk, and oranges. For the first time since October of last year, the price of eggs dropped in April. Other grocery list staples like beef or chicken, milk, bread, bananas all either stayed flat or changed a few cents. While speaking at an economic investment forum in Saudi Arabia today, President Trump commented on the current state of the economy here in the U.S.
The days of economic misery under the last administration are rapidly giving way to the greatest economy in the history of the world. We are rocking. Groceries, gasoline, energy, and all other prices are down with no inflation. We have no inflation in a few short weeks.
There is still inflation, but today's report showed the lowest rise in 4 years, a positive sign for Americans. Overall, economists suggest that today's report showed that the president's tariffs haven't impacted prices just yet, but could in the next 2 to 3 months. Reporting from the White House, Caitlin Norwood, 4029 News.
Well, President Trump is meeting with Middle East officials this week. The president's 4-day trip began this morning in Saudi Arabia, where he met with the Crown Prince. Now, this comes as reports surfaced that the kingdom would invest $600 billion in U.S. companies that the president says will create 2 million jobs. The president is expected to focus on business development and trade agreements on this trip. Other countries he's scheduled to visit include Qatar and the United Arab Emirates.
And the Trump administration wants the Supreme Court to allow it to restart deportations of nearly 200 Venezuelan migrants who were detained in Texas. According to the court filing, the migrants allegedly associated with the street gang have proven to be especially dangerous to maintain in prolonged detention. The DOJ made the argument that the group should be removed from the country. This is National Police Week, where people across the country are honoring the work of active, former, and fallen officers.
Just ahead tonight from Arkansas to Oklahoma, what local law enforcement officers are doing to raise awareness. Plus, when we return, 4029's Chief Meteorologist Darby Bybee tracking a big warm-up, plus the return of storm chances as we get closer to the weekend. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Let's check traffic. I-49 in Fayetteville looks good. Nice and warm out there. In Rogers, a little bit of a slowdown, southbound lanes through Pinnacle Hills and the Promenade exit. It's between exit 83 and 81, but no accidents. In the River Valley, everything's looking good there. All green. National Police Week continues today. Officers in Sebastian County met for a ceremony this afternoon.
So they honor law enforcement who have died in the line of duty. Each agency, including Fort Smith Police and the Sebastian County Sheriff's Office, all there to honor and remember their colleagues.
It's their memories, it's their legacies that we need to remember. And by having ceremonies like this, we can keep them in our thoughts. Because the simple fact is this, it doesn't matter what badge you wear, what department you're with, we're all brothers and sisters.
Now, another event to keep in mind this week, the Springdale Police Department is going to be hosting its memorial on Thursday. It's going to be at 11 a.m. right in front of the department in downtown Springdale. And the Special Olympics Summer Games just around the corner.
Oklahoma City Police and other law enforcement agencies are kicking things off with the annual torch run to the Capitol.
Our sister station in Oklahoma shares a closer look at this inspiring tradition.
That's right, law enforcement starting that run downtown at police headquarters. They're running the Flame of Hope all the way to the state capitol. Here are those officers making the run just minutes ago. This is Sky 5 flying over officers from Moore as they make their run. And this is the Oklahoma City Police Department from our crews on the ground. Today it's just a 3-mile trek from police headquarters. But tomorrow these officers are running from Edmond all the way to Stillwater. It's a special tradition to kick off the Special Olympic Games. In Oklahoma City, Audrey Gutson, KOCO.
In uncertain economic times, it's nice to save a little money. So, did you get some summer movie tickets at almost half price?
Well, it's possible. The AMC theater chain announced that this week it's making it cheaper to go to the movies by slashing adult tickets on Wednesday